Well, hello there. Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Gwen, and I am back again today. And our conversation is, how can you really have it all? Now, yesterday we had a conversation about what you need to do if you are going to try to have it all. And that conversation revolved around you becoming clear. You have to be clear about what it is that you want. That is the first thing that needs to happen. And thank you, already see the likes. I love it. Thank you so much. And I hope that there are other friends will be joining me, because we're going to have the most amazing discussion this week that's going to open your eyes to a lot of things about having what you want. So we talked about yesterday, and you're going to have to just review the video because I'm not going to go back and do the whole thing because I have new stuff for you today. However, you must take inventory. You're going to, first of all, take inventory, get clear on what it is that you want. You have to be clear. Nothing happens in the space of confusion. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so delighted that you're here. Send me some love, send me some likes. I love seeing that. It energizes me, and it's wonderful that you're joining me. So once you get clear, now you have to take inventory. What are you committed to already? Align what you're committed to with what you want, with your passions. And then the third step was clean house. You have to clean house. Now, once you get to that stage, what do you need to do next? Nothing happens outside of you being completely aware of who you are. And I tried to print up a little chart for you. The last time I've taught this lesson before, and when I did it, I put it in front of the camera, it was like flip-flopped. So I tried to do a reverse printing, and I hope it shows up correctly. But I have a model that I have designed here that is called the ACT Breakthrough Success Model. And you can see at the top there is awareness, then there is creation, and then there is transformation. And that's where you get your breakthrough performance. Now, do you really want to have it all? And if you do, you have to be completely aware of what's going on with you. You know how we ladies sometimes we set ourselves up for either success or failure, but mostly failure sometimes, because what we tend to do is we give ourselves an identity. We say, okay, well, that's not me. I've caught myself doing that a number of times, especially when I'm going to try something that's completely new and I am a little scared about it, or it may be outside of my realm of things that I've ever done. Then I would say something like, that's not me. And the other day I really caught myself saying that, because who am I anyway? Who are you anyway? What do you mean? Do you have an identity that you're locking yourself in? Because if you are doing that, then you're literally putting a cap on your success level. You're locking yourself away, and you're putting a cap on the level of success that you can have. So stop telling yourself, that's not me, or I can't do that, or I've never done that before. So that awareness is really important for you if you're going to be able to have breakthrough. Hey, Eileen, thank you. I appreciate you for joining. So that awareness is completely key. You've got to be alert about what is going on inside of you, not just inside of you, but also outside in your environment and with other people. Breakthrough performance completely requires that you first have clear knowledge of yourself, because there are some little voices that are in your head at times that may stop you from getting to where you need to get to. And we're going to talk about that. But that complete awareness is, who are you? What do you believe is possible about yourself? These are some questions that you really need to ask yourself. Who have you identified yourself to be? Completely great questions. You know, I want to tell a few years, maybe it was a year ago or so, my oldest daughter, who lives in New York City, she was coming to Washington, D.C. to a jazz concert. And I've told this story before, so if you've heard it, well, pardon my having to tell it, but it just fits this scenario. How we lock ourselves in, right? So she invited me to the jazz concert, and she said, you know, Mom, it would be nice if you could meet me in D.C. to go to this concert. And I immediately flew into a tizzy. I do not like driving to Washington, D.C. I don't. The traffic is usually not great. The parking is horrendous. And I had already formed that impression of going to Washington, D.C. So I started feeling anxious, and I told her, look, you know what? I want to go to Washington, D.C. all by myself. I don't want to have to be driving up and down to find parking. That's just not me. I'm not comfortable with that. And she said, well, you know, Mom, you know, it would be nice to hang out with you. And the long run, the long and the short of it was, I drove to Washington, D.C. And you know what was funny? The parking was great. I found parking. Now, here I was telling myself, look, that's not me. I don't want to do it. And I was already locking away my potential of going out and exploring on my own, going out and just being. I was locking myself away. And that wasn't good. Now, a lot of times, how does that relate to us? How does that relate to you? A lot of times, you will find yourself saying, that's not me, or I've never done that before. And those are the thoughts you've got to catch if you want to have it all. Because those thoughts are boxes with keys thrown away that you cannot get out of. Now, luckily, you can get out of it, but it's going to take that mental acuity and that awareness in order to do it. So do you have self-limiting beliefs? You've got to be aware of what those are, and you've got to really confront them. The other thing is, are you being really you? Are you hiding behind a mask of being who you're not? See, for you to have what you want, authenticity is really key. It's really important for you to be authentic. Because, as I said yesterday, it takes a village to raise your dream. And you're not ever going to fulfill on massive dreams all by yourself. You're going to need the support of others. And as I said, I will share with you about network. Later on, as we go into the week, I'm going to get into some meat and potatoes about some real key things that you can put in place to move you along to those needle movers. But right now, today, we are building foundation so you can actually see the overall view. So when we start going into the finer details, it all will come together for you. Do you want breakthrough performance? Do you want to have it all? Now, assuming that you do, that mask that you have, you're going to have to throw it. I'm sorry, you're really going to have to take it off and throw it away. It's not going to do you any good, because if you need people to help you to get to where you need to get to, that mask is going to just put a barrier between you and others. Okay? So you have got to be true to yourself and understand that that mask won't serve you any good. Now, for the awareness piece, then there comes this creation piece. I really want to wrap this whole model up here today so I don't have to do this model again tomorrow, and I can start giving you some solid tips tomorrow on household stuff. And pardon me, that is my cell phone, and I did not turn it off. I fully had the intention of quieting that stuff. So now, the creation piece. Creation, what does that mean? To get what you want in your life, it starts right here. You have to begin to understand what is clear and what you want. What do you want? So maybe your goal and your dream is to, let's say, start a nonprofit organization or to start a business. You're not going to just jump and launch and do this thing. You first have to come to grips with what's your connection. What do you want inside? What is connected with you? We talked about your passion yesterday and that being very important. But how do you become that? There are some steps that you need to take in order to be clear about what you are creating. There are some foundational things that are important for you to have it all. There are two foundational things that I want to point out to you with my little chart here. And I don't know if you can see it. One says commitment, and the other one is passion and desire. So commitment and integrity, and passion and desire. Now, hoping these are showing up the right way, I was able to print the chart reverse, and hopefully it's showing up on your screen, because the first time I did this, I discovered that everything was backwards. It really was backwards. And so when I watch the video later, I go, holy crap. So now I try to reverse it. So if it's not showing up, I did the best I could. So I appreciate your understanding on that. But that piece that's really key is integrity, commitment, and passion and desire. You must commit to what you want. And what does commitment mean? It means that you're going to follow through to do it regardless of what shows up. Whether you feel like it or not, whether it's convenient for you or not, you're going to find a way to make it work. That really was the way that I was able to break through with 3 young children and not even neglect their needs. I mean, we had what I thought was a lot of fun. We'll talk about that later on this week too, about relationships with the kids, right? And the way that they fit into all of this. And even the impressions of the kids, how they interpret your conversations. All that we will talk about a little bit later on during the week. But right now, you have to be completely aware of all of those things that are vital to you. Then we have the transformation piece. And that transformation is where you actually get into action. You have to get into action. Now, I want to show you something right here. See this chart? You can see there is the word transformation across the top, and hopefully you're seeing it. There is the dreamer. This is where a lot of people find themselves. Right here is the dreamer. Their desire and their passion is high, and they're low integrity. They don't have any integrity and commitment, so they don't achieve the results that they want. Then we find there's the unmotivated non-achiever. And this person right here is that person who just doesn't, they don't have any vim, nothing, low on every single thing. I'm glad, Brenda. I am so happy. I know you are. Thank you so much for joining me. And then we have the overachiever right there. A lot of people in the work world who do very, very well find themselves right there as overachievers. Now, what does it mean to be an overachiever? Well, usually the overachiever has follow through. They're usually committed and they stay in action. They do what is needed to get to where they need to get to. Their desire or their passion, however, is low. So they're not really passionate about the work that they're doing. Thank you for the love. Aww. They're not passionate about the work that they're doing, but they produce good results. That's the overachiever. Have you ever been an overachiever on something you're doing? Maybe you have a job that you're completely not really passionate about, but you're producing very high results because you stay in action and you do what needs to be done to get it done. Now, in your life, it's important for you to have passion, because I do not believe for one bit that anyone can achieve all of their breakthrough without completely being passionate about what they're doing. It's just completely impossible. Thank you, Cynthia. You're most welcome. I really appreciate your joining me here. So the overachiever, what happens to these people is that they get burnt out. They get burnt out on the job. They really produce high results, but they're not connected inside. The whole creation piece and connection is missing. Now, how do you get what you want? If you're going to get everything that you want, as I said, you've got to figure what is important to you, but also you have to make sure that you are passionate about it. You must make that connection with yourself, because otherwise you're not going to have the energy to produce it. Because I'm going to be asking some very big things of you guys. I really am. I'm going to ask some huge things of you, but you first have to set yourself up to achieve it, right? That's why I'm saying you've got to create first, mentally. You've got to create. Now, this overachiever gets burnt out, but this is really where you want to be, the breakthrough performer, where you have a strong desire and passion. You are really creating. You are very aware of what's going on inside, outside, and in your surrounding, and you are in that transformation phase. That transformation phase is magical. And on this training here, I'm not going to put any links at all for anything. I just want to share this with you. But I also want to say that I do have a free course that explains all of this. I'm not going to go into the details of the explanation, just the overview so you can catch what I am saying, because I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want to get to the nitty-gritty of how do you get to it. But you cannot get to it, ladies, and hopefully some gents are in here, but I see ladies. You can't get to it if you are not aware, if you are not creating, and if you're not in transformation. And all of that must be bound by integrity and commitment. Your passion and desire must fully be bound by that. Now, if that were so easy, why isn't it that everybody doesn't achieve it, right? I feel like I have achieved a whole lot in my life. I mean, there is no doubt about it that I've achieved a lot. But you know what the biggest joy for me is? That I was still there for my kids. And I know a lot of women may have children, and you may have your dreams and you want to fulfill on those dreams, but you seem to think that you can't have it all. It's either going to be the kids or it's going to be your work. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be one or the other. None of them have to be sacrificed. Really, it's not good news that you don't have to sacrifice your kids for your work. And also the other thing about it is when your kids grow up seeing you producing greatness and doing great things in the world, guess what? They begin to emulate that in their own lives as they become adults too. They want to do stuff. They want to take on transformational stuff. They want to show up in a big way. So what a wonderful way to set an example for your kids. But I asked you earlier, What if it's that simple? Why is it that everybody doesn't get it? Why don't people achieve it? Well, I made another chart here, and I think it's on my printer that this one is also reversed. And you can see, I call this the iceberg principle. And you can see right at the top is your conscious mind, which is that part of your mind that you're using right now to process what I'm saying to you. Thank you so much, Jackie. Yes, I appreciate it. I love your comments. Thank you so much for joining me. So you see this subconscious mind right up here. See how tiny a tip it is on this iceberg principle? And I labeled this chart why willpower will fail you. Because you can't ever achieve anything based on your willpower alone. Why? Well, simply because only, and some people this number has varied between 1 and 10%. But only 1 to 10% of your actions are coming from here. 90 to 99% of your actions are coming from here. That bottom piece, which is the subconscious. And then you can also see that right there are your habits, your strategies, your impulses, and all of the physiological controls. You don't have to think to do it. Now, how many times have you been driving? Just to illustrate this, you've been driving home and suddenly you're pulling up in your driveway and you don't even remember how you got there. Like, you literally drove the whole distance and your brain was somewhere else. Your conscious mind was thinking about something else. Your subconscious mind takes you home. That subconscious mind has everything you have ever learned, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you know what? Thank you for those love bubbles. That subconscious mind rules your life. And if you are not careful, it will shut you down and stop you from greatness. It's quote unquote protecting you, but really what it's doing is halting your growth. You can't step out and grow if you're not aware of what your subconscious mind is telling you. So all of those voices that's telling you, well, you need to stop, or I can't get there, or this is not me, or I'm not good enough. Who am I? I can't even achieve that. I flunked school when I was in kindergarten, so how am I going to pass college? Or whatever the stories you tell yourself. That's all in your subconscious mind. And you've got to get rid of it if you want to get anywhere. Now, how you get rid of it is by some simple strategies that you will have to replace subconsciously. And I'm going to point you to that free resource. If you want it, just PM me, private message me if you want it, and I'll send you the link. It's free. So, you will first of all, though, need to be aware of that. And there is a principle that I teach that's called the ACT module, yes, but also it allows you to process what's going on, to transform yourself in the process, really question yourself about the truths of it, and then choose another behavior. Okay? So you are not stopped continuously by that. So for this dreamer situation now, so you've seen the ACT model in practice. Can you really have it all? Yes, you can have it all. You can't have random stuff that's all over the place. You have got to focus on what's important to you. You've got to discover what your passions are and work along those lines to bring everything in alignment with that. And then you also need to be aware. So now what I'm going to ask you to do is this. I see that, Cynthia. Yes, it is your programming, Jackie. Completely. And yeah, I see that, Brenda. You've done that. Completely. Send me a PM if you want it, and I will just send it out to you, okay? Or I could just go back and go through this link since you put it there, and then I'll send it out to you. So I want you now to go back and to start looking through your life, because you are a great human being. I mean, there's no doubt about it. People who are average, who don't want anything, don't get on these calls. They don't get on these live casts, okay? And it's usually the people who are already great who are always looking to expand themselves. I know that because, I would be on something like this too. I'm continuously learning. I don't possibly know it all. So, what are you going to have to do? Yesterday, I asked you to find the passion. I asked you to compare what you're committed to, right? And I asked you to clean house. Go in and clean house. Anything that does not align with your passion, shred it out of your life. Go back and watch the video to see what I said. Today, what I'm going to ask you to is to be completely aware of what's going on with you. What are you seeing? What are you saying to yourself? What are the voices in your head that's coming to you? What do you want for your life? Be clear about that. Go in and really ask yourself. And if you do, and I see some people saying, yes, they want it, I'll send you the link. There's a little workbook in there that's going to give you some questions, some really deep questions for you to process and think about. Really, what do you want? And that's what I want you to do for today. And if you find yourself hiding behind a mask and being someone else, stop it right now. Please, promise me you will. That's never going to get you greatness. It's never going to get you power. It's never going to get others to really respect you. You're never going to feel good about yourself. Not if you're hiding behind a mask. It's a state of powerlessness. And if you really want to be powerful, ladies, show up. Show up in your beauty and your strength. You're powerful, okay? And when you show up like that, nothing can eradicate that. And I mean absolutely nothing, okay? So today, in closing, I hate to say assignment because I know a lot of people, in schools, we've turned off a lot of people from schooling the way we've made it, right? And, I used to be a teacher all the way to the college professor level. And, I've always believed in making things exciting for my students. I really have always believed in that. But now I'm going to give you a little, let's say home play, not homework, right? Home play. And this is, I took this one from Janet Atwood. What I would like for you to do is to go in and take inventory of you. Take inventory of Jackie, of Brenda, of Cynthia, of everybody who's on this call. Just go in and take inventory and see. Just Eileen, I didn't even realize I could scroll on this thing. Wow. So see, I learned something new today. But yeah, see, I scrolled down and I can see there were some people that were hiding under there, and I didn't know that. So yeah, last time I touched this thing and I disappeared, like poof, I was gone off of the screen. So anyway, just take inventory of who you are and process that. You feel free, if you have any questions at all, send me an email, okay? It's Gwen, Gwen, at thedrgwen.com. Gwen at thedrgwen.com. Send me an email and I will respond back with any answers or resources. I got a lot of resources that I could point you to. But You see, your success is all of our success, because you know what, ladies? It's not a scarcity mentality. We all are one. We all are one. And guess what? There is complete abundance for every single one of us. So we don't have to be scrambling, and if you do what I do, then, I can't support you. You know what? I support people who do the exact same thing that I do, because there is enough for all of us. So you send me questions and I'll send you whatever resources I have. And today, though, what I want to leave you with is that whole business of being completely aware and starting to create mentally who you want to become. Now, how many of you here have children? Does anybody here have kids? Yes, that programming, I see that. If anybody has kids, or we're going to talk about relationships too, believe me. I mean, I have got some story. I've told some of those stories already that would curl your hair. But I actually have experiences that I can share in marriage, in divorce, in second marriages, with children. I mean, tons of experience. And isn't that what life is all about? That's what a life coach is what I believe. Having the experience, coming through on the other side, and being able to guide others to navigate that path. So let me just make sure that there are no comments that I have to address. Oh, okay, I see what it is. Jackie, what I will do is I'll type it in a little bit later, because I'm on my tablet right here. And it's THEDRGWEN. So I'll type it in a little later, and then you will be able to see it. All right. Okay, auntie of 3 helps sister raise them. Oh, believe me, that's like a parent. That is like a parent too. So I completely get it. Through the teenage years and even through school, through school. So we've got a lot to share and a lot to talk about. And let's just empower one another. Okay, we're women and we're powerful creatures. And let's step into our greatness and let's elevate one another to where we need to get to. So I'm going to bid you goodbye, and let me just double check, make sure no questions. Okay, thank you so much for joining me, ladies, and I want to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, what I will be doing is talking about some practical things that you can begin to put in your life to get the results that you want. Now, I don't know the audience I'm speaking to, whether or not you have kids. It looks like most of you don't have kids, and if you don't, some of the stuff may not relate, but I could also talk about the kidless home or the childless home, and how you get to what you want to get to. So anyway, love you. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. live, and share this link with anyone you think could benefit so they are here with us tomorrow. Thank you so much. Yes, love you guys. Bye.